So, welcome everybody. I am Matt Gelder, and this is Inside the Majors. I am joined by our two of our competition committee members, Mike Ouellette and Mr. John King. How are you, fellas?
We're good, thanks, Matt.
Doing good, Matt. Thanks for hosting.
So hopefully this doesn't go too off the rails today, but yes, thank you guys for the opportunity to the host while Wade is out. Mike, I heard that you had a major decision to make just a little bit ago. You want to explain on that one?
A major decision? Are you referring to the duels?
Yes, I think everybody is kind of still confused about what's going on with the duels.
Well, I can probably make it more confusing, but I'll tell you what, we have a ton of guys going out for their qualifying laps. Do we want to catch a few of those?
Yeah, do we have any eyes that we want to keep an eye on that you see that might be particular?
Dan Marcantonio won the European region last year. He just signed up for the majors today, and he's putting his time in, it looks like. Adam,
Joshua Allen is another kinetic guy, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. I'll be interested to see if he's followed our instructions properly.
Yes, instructions are key at super speedways, as we are all finding out.
Decent time from Eric Smith.
Yeah, that's a very quick time. That's about comparable to what I put in early this morning.
good for about 26th in the Americas.
No, I'm really impressed with the overseas guys, the guys that are Scandinavia. Even I know Australia is kind of used to it by now, but even the UK guys, the guys are not normally used to driving ovals or not driving them very well. They're actually putting in very good times. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I think the guys that are good at road racing, they tend to run in fast laps on the super speedways. It's it's relatively easy in qualifying. What's the challenge for those guys is the tactics of a race.
Right. Yeah. It's the getting the complete the whole 500 miles. Dan put an amazing lap in 47.351. That's blistering, and Josh is not far behind him.
Yeah. So Dan's time is 1,000 slower than pole.
So does he break up the kinetic duo in Americas?
No.
Holy moly.
That's close.
I was going to say that was probably going to be very close to that one. Adam put in a really good time. Jared put in a very good time. Still 47.5s. Joshua Mertz just put in a 47.4.
Henry Bennett, excellent time. That's good news for the total downforce guy. And I know that V Apex has been really struggling with the qualifying, so that was good for Eric to at least get into the fives for sure.
Yeah, it seems like this set compared to last season, they've changed quite a few things, so it's a little bit harder to find the speed out of these cars.
Yeah, I think doing it the way we knew how to do it last year, you could probably get down to like 47.6, 47.7, something like that. The last 2 or 3 tenths were just so difficult to find.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. It's just trying to, can I gain a little bit more time out of it? Can I get just a hair more? And it, of course, it wants to fight you forever.
We've got Eric Mickey, 2018 Daytona 500 European champion, and Brian Bennett on track right now. And Josh Cully, who is, I'm pretty sure he's a Sector 5 guy, ran a 4.44, so that's going to be interesting to see how that translates tomorrow.
So we're gonna try to follow Bennett here and see what he's going on. Come on, you're supposed to work like you're supposed to. So as we're following Bennett here, do you want to elaborate on the duels, Mike, for us real quick? Try to make it a little bit easier for us.
Sure. Let's see, Ryan 4.35, so that's a good time. Just beats out his teammate. Another solid time. All right, so the duels. Basically, anybody, first of all, to clear up whether you can race in the duels or not. So the only requirement to racing in the duels is that you have registered for the Daytona 500. So I'll be sending out passwords to the duels in each region to anybody who's registered for the race. We had intended to limit that to people who had qualified already. And more, as much as anything, that was just to encourage people to qualify early, so that we could get the madness of qualifying, which everybody is experiencing right now, out of the way and on to racing, race setups. But I didn't put that in the race regulations or on the event webpage, and there was a lot of people who were caught off guard by it and didn't feel right to force to have them missed out of the duels because they didn't know. So not right. So we opened that up to everybody, but that was the reason why we were going to do it that way and why we're not. So again, anybody who's registered for the race can run in the duels. The duels are in hosted, not in league, and in international in Europe. They're a little bit different than how they'll be done in America, because of the size of the field. Obviously, we'll have a much larger field in Americas, and in Europe, so far it looks like we're going to have 4 splits. That would be my guess by the end of the week. And in international, probably just 2, possibly 3, but most likely just 2 splits. And so the duels are going to be watered down versions of that already. And so with we didn't want to have duels with only 5-10 guys in it, and by rule wouldn't have qualified anybody for the actual 500 anyway. So we're combining pro and sportsman for the international and European duels, and we'll still just take the top 12 from each of those regions' duels. Will advance to either Pro 1 or Sport 1. So that's not, just to clarify, that's not the top 12 pros and the top 12 sportsmen. It's the top 12, period. So just make up some numbers, if the top 7, or if 7 of the top 12 are pro in international, and 5 of the top 12 are sportsmen in international, then those are the 12 drivers that will lock themselves into their respective Pro 1 and Sport 1 splits. Now, that will leave 5 spots unclaimed that would have otherwise been claimed in the pro region, in the pro division. Those spots will then go to people based on qualifying time, and or provisionals potentially, but qualifying time. So that's the idea, is that basically in each region there'll be a maximum of 24 spots allocated via the duels. Everything else will be filled in with queue times, with the top two in each region being locking out the front row, and then the back half, the back 10 or so in each split. So pro splits were fairly committed to 36. We wouldn't go lower than that, but we could go higher by 1 or 2 depending on how the things break out. But you should expect 36 drivers to make the pro split, pro 1 split in each region. And go from there. So I don't know if I answered all the questions that you had, Matt, or your team had, and if not, shoot.
No, actually, I think it pretty much explained what I wanted to make sure that at least everybody knew what was going on, because I know there was, even on our team, it was like, okay, what exactly happened? What are we doing? What did he change? But yeah, you explained it perfectly. That's completely good. I just wanted to help anybody that's watching trying to figure out what's going on. I'm assuming the times and the dates have not changed. It's just how the drivers, since we're not not limited to how we're getting in, so the time and the dates are still correct.
Yeah. None of that's changed. The first international duel will be in just a little over 7 hours. So 8 hours from now. The server will open in 7 hours from right now, basically. And then the second international duel will be tomorrow, just an hour later. And then, so both the international duels will be done and out of the way before the European and America's duels even get started. And that's in part just because where they're located on the time zone part of the world, and B, because their race is a day earlier than everybody else's. So they'll be done with their duels here in a little over 24 hours.
Very cool. Thank you for the explanation. I do appreciate that. I think everybody else appreciates that also. Mr. King has been very quiet. I think we need to get Mr. King in this conversation. John, do you have anything to report on your end with how things have been going this weekend, or this last weeks or two?
Well, we got really lucky with a qualifying set. We worked really hard at it as well, but we found a little bit extra towards the end of the week. So we've been really fast. But Daytona being Daytona, of course, being fast in qualifying means nothing once you get to the race. So it's still pretty stressful. And the other complication in Americas, of course, is that no matter where you are in qualifying, you're still under pressure because we've got a lot of provisionals in America as well. So it's entirely possible that the third fastest qualifier in Americas might not make the top split. So that's pretty stressful. That's theoretically, of course, what we're hoping is that a lot of the provisional guys will get in through the duels and free up some qualifying spots. But if they don't, then even the people with really quick qualifying times might not make it. So we're worried.
Yeah, I agree on that one. I know we were having kind of the same conversation of trying to figure out what exactly do we do on our end and how do we make this work. Yeah, you guys are quick, super quick. Is there any teams or any drivers in particular? I know you hosted a lot. Kinetic themselves hosted a lot of practice races the week prior, so last week. Anybody that stands out that you are either concerned about for a threat to Kinetic, or somebody you're looking forward to racing with?
Well, we're looking forward to racing with everyone, and honestly, I think the race sets are going to be really close. All those races, there's been nothing between any of the decent teams. So I think it's a clean slate once we get to the race, and it's going to be about tactics and luck and all of the normal things you need on a super speedway. And what's been clear in those practice races is no one can break away. No matter what you do and how much of a train you form, you cannot break away from the pack. So I think it's going to be a big pack of cars going around for a long time. And unfortunately, I think we're going to have some big wrecks as well. So it's going to be, can you avoid getting into those wrecks? And the biggest debate we've had within Kinetic is, which is safer? Do you want to be at the front, or do you want to be right at the back, maybe even off the pack, for at least the first half of the race or so? And I think that's going to be an interesting thing to watch in the race. Is, are there going to be people that are going to be prepared to take a chance and drop to the back of the pack, or even 5 seconds off the pack and await developments? Or is everyone going to try and get to the front? What you don't want to be is in the middle of the pack, because that's going to be the place where there's the most danger of getting wrecked.
Yeah, we noticed that quite a bit also. It seems like it was especially the practice races, it was Kinetic, UDocs, Forge. We were pretty much the teams closer to the front, but we were also trying to figure out what cars we had. I know there's a lot of independents that we race with in the practice sessions, or the practice races that you guys hosted. Yeah, we learned quite a bit just from those races. So we do thank you for everybody, you and Vincent and anybody on Kinetic that hosted those. I know we hosted maybe a couple of them, but yeah, we learned a lot, especially in those before official practice started.
Yeah, I think they were good to have. I got a little bit frustrated at one point, because I think everyone was driving probably a little bit too aggressively, even for a practice race. But I think we needed to go through that and have those big wrecks, and see what was under what circumstances were you going to get into trouble. And we found out quite a bit of that.
Yeah, it was going to be eventually that we needed to figure out how aggressive can we be before everything hits the fan. And there was a couple races that it came early, and we figured it out really fast. So I think everybody, at least in those practice sessions that everybody that was in, or even saw parts or heard the conversations on Discord, have kind of figured out, it's like, hey, we can't be this aggressive. If you start being this aggressive, this is what's going to happen. So it's 500 miles. It's a long time. It's a long time in the sim. People are going to start getting antsy. It's patience. It's a patience game. It's all these long races are patience games. So yeah, hopefully we can get through. We all know the big one's going to happen. The biggest thing is when.
Yeah, I think particularly the America's Pro race will be. Most people will be pretty patient. So I sort of expect that one to be a little bit tame for the first 100 laps or so. I think people will form up two lanes, and everyone will just drive around. They'll try and gain some positions, but I don't think there's going to be anything too aggressive in them. I'm a bit more worried about the top split of sportsmen in America, because I think there's going to be less skill on the show there, and I think people will be a little bit more anxious to be in the position they want to be, if you know what I mean. Either at the front or on the inside lane or the outside lane, and I think there's going to be a little bit more aggressive moves there, and I think we're going to have a few more problems there. International, I'm not worried about at all. I think everyone's going to be pretty chilled. At least half the field know each other really well, and we're really respectful of each other. So I don't think international is going to be too much of a problem. Europe, that will be interesting, because I think of all of the regions, the average experience level on ovals is probably the least. So I think there's more potential for problems there than in the other two regions.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Hopefully we don't have any issues in the sportsman. Of course, it's the experience might not be there There's a lot of different factors that is going on, especially in the sportsman regions, or not in the regions, but in the sportsman splits. So yeah, hopefully everybody can just can everybody just calm. Biggest thing is we all know that there's stuff going to happen in the early laps because everybody's antsy, everybody wants to go, but it's a long race, so hopefully there's not going to be so much antsiness. It's everybody's going to be calm and relaxed, and then we can start getting ramped up towards the end of the race where things might happen then, but hopefully there isn't.
Yeah, talking of American sportsmen, Brian Halleck has just gone pole.
I was just going to say, we've got a bunch of guys jumped in. We missed a couple times, Brian and Daniel B. Johnson as well. It's pretty cool. And also one of your guys, John Dustin, put it in a decent.
Yeah, and Dan Johnson will go second because he's got the same time as Mark and Ernie, but he's got a faster practice time than both of them. So he's going to go second.
Oh wow! Well, speaking of Mark, I just brought him into the channel so we can talk to him about that because his teammate Brian, jumped in there as well. So super tight times, and just goes to show you that setup is so crucial because the pro you can't hardly tell the difference between pro and sportsman on qualifying times anyway. But just to kind of before we get into Mark, and I'll give you guys a few thoughts before I bolt out, but. I think that what you guys said about the quality of the racing is probably spot on, and I don't think that necessarily in either the sportsman division in Americas or in the European pro or sportsman divisions that it'll be a matter of impatience. Although there will probably be some of that, but I think it's mostly just going to be a talent issue. And like you said, John, the pack is you can't escape it. I was running in a practice session, or maybe it was. One of the practice races, and it was the international practice support race, and I was maybe a second and a half off of a 3-car grouping ahead of me coming out of the pits, and I caught them, which is unheard of. So the power of the draft isn't crazy. But so I think you're not going to escape the pack, and so the lesser skilled splits are there's just gonna be some wrecks. There just is. It's just no way of getting around it. And as the field thins out a little bit, it'll get better. But I expect some rough splits, and that's not. It's just an is thing. It's not a good or bad. It's just an is thing. The last thing I wanted to talk about before I get out. Is you mentioned the provisionals, John, and how tough it's going to be to make the pro split, in whether it's Europe or international or Americas especially, because of even if you're super fast on qualifying time, if you don't do well in the duels, you could be left high and dry. And if you're anybody who's looking at the live qualifying results, and you should on the website. You may notice a lot of people with indications of PP or CP or SUP in the gridding column. And basically what those are is to let everybody know those are people who have spots locked in to their respective top split of their division. So whether it's pro or sport. And all those people, they're going to be in that top split because they've earned it. And some people may be like, well, gosh, that's not right. I've was faster, or I did well, whatever. And I should be able to. They shouldn't take my spot. Well, we created those provisionals. This is sort of my soapbox moment, and also a way to advertise for the rest of the year. We created those provisionals really for this race, for Daytona. And we felt like, qualifying here is such a crapshoot, and it can be so difficult and so challenging. And as everybody's experienced with setting up their cars for qualifying, it's just an engineering marvel, really. But we wanted there to be some security for folks that had, both success and tenure in the league. And so whether you're a previous champion or whether you were a top 25 driver in the playoffs last year, you've got a provisional for one of the first two races this year. And only one person had to use a provisional last round. so they burned it. Can't use it for this. That was Jeff Schmeier of Dog Bear. But everybody else who had a provisional still has it in their pocket, and should they need it this round, they will get it, and that may bump some fast cars. Who knows? But I don't lament that. I celebrate that. And again, my word to the wise to everybody is just get to the top 50. Make the top 50, whether it's pro or sportsman. Top 50 in all regions. Make the playoffs, and once you've made the playoffs, if you can just make it to the second round, you've earned yourself a provisional for the first 2 races of the following year. And you don't have to be the fastest or the best to make top 50 even, really. I mean, last year, I think it was virtually every single person who made the top 50 had ran in at least 12 races. So if you run all the races, you give yourself a great shot. So anyway, that's my public service announcement, and I'll let you guys back at it, and we can get Mark in here.
Yeah, so just a couple of things there. So the top 50, I was in that, so it doesn't take much talent at all. But also, just to be clear, I wasn't complaining about the provisionals. Mike knows that in the CC, I was probably his biggest supporter of having provisionals. So it was a statement of fact rather than any kind of whine about it. I think it's definitely the right thing to do.
And as an outsider, as a team owner, I support the provisionals. I think it's a great thing. It gives you something to shoot for. It gives you something for your teammates to shoot for. But yeah, I am all for it. I think that's a great idea, and I think it should continue. I have no issues with it. So I think we pulling Mark in real quick.
Mark's on track.
I am here.
Mark's
and
here.
On track.
Oh, either way.
So I really don't like those qual times, so I'm going to do another lap. I'm really liking lines, but I don't like being knocked off the front row, so we're going to have another go.
All right, John, here's your chance to interview a driver as he's driving and try to get him to screw up.
Yeah, well, I've got incentive here because I want to distract Mark and get him not to beat those times.
Well, Ernie just connected as well, so I think both of us are feeling a little bit of pressure right now.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in the last practice session because both Forge and Americas were and Kinetic were out in the last practice session trying to push Mark and Ernie respectively to a fastest practice time, so they could get pole position. We failed by 0.02 of a second to get Ernie up there, but it was a lot of fun trying to get yourself into the right position on the track and avoid each other as well, because we were both running in big packs.
Wait.
It was amusing.
So you're saying there's something fishy going on here?
Of course. Well, I'm not sure it's fishy, but there was some team tactics going on to try and, because of the way if the same time is set in qualifying, the practice time, your fastest practice time, is the tiebreaker. So we were both. Mark was trying to defend the fact that he was faster than Ernie in practice, and we were trying to push Ernie up above Mark. But it was all done in pretty good spirit. We didn't deliberately try and mess each other up. But we were definitely not trying to help each other. Let's put it that way.
Oh, now you defend yourself.
There's some friendly competition going on, but John and I talk, and I'm just about to come across the line here. I have no idea what my time is. Not good.
Not horrible.
Well, not enough to get back on the front row, but that's okay. This is going to be tight, guys. It's going to be an incredible race. There's 3-4 teams that are going to be in sportsman just banging away at each other, I think. And I don't think... I get the feeling that there's going to be some friendships lost at the end of the 500. But hopefully nothing will be nefarious. I just think we're all just trying to go for the win, and we all have multiple cars out there, so we're all gonna try our best to get to the front. And when you have 4 teams with multiple cars trying to get to the front, it's gonna be a cluster, boys.
It's always in some ways the worst race of the year because the racing is so close, and there's so much potential for issues, and certainly from a competition committee point of view, it's the race I least look forward to because we have to deal with a bunch of protests afterwards, and it's inevitable. But as Mike said earlier, that's not it's not deliberate or anything like that. It just is what it is. And because the racing is so close, we're gonna have a few wrecks, and there's gonna be a few people that get upset. But hopefully, a few days after the race, everyone will calm down and we'll all be friends again. So it'll be good.
Yeah, honestly, it would be fun to race with you, John. But we're in different divisions. You being in pro and me being in sportsman. But I'm definitely looking forward to racing with Ernie. And I think we both have pretty good rosters in sportsman. The UDocs guys do too. So it's going to be an interesting race. I honestly think that if we can all keep it clean, it's going to be a fantastic race. But it is.
Yeah,
it's the 500.
And it should be really close. These qualifying in American sportsmen is just insane. 0.001 between the top 4. That's mad.
Yeah. Has this happened before?
I don't think so. It's always tight, but I don't think it's ever been this close.
No, I don't think it's been ever this close in all the years.
No, the pro in Americas is only 0.001 between the top 3. So one car to watch for is I saw Wade Hayes has just connected. Wade didn't do a particularly great qualifying first time out. He might be worth watching because he could easily get into the 3.5s.
We're actually watching Ernie right now to see what he's going to put down.
Maybe you should talk to him while he's doing a lap too.
Ernie always turns off his audio while he's driving.
That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, it's probably not the smartest idea for me to do an interview while trying to do my lap, but...
Hey, they got the in-car reporters all the time. You might as well have one here.
Have a little fun with it. Interesting line from Ernie.
This is his lap 1, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, we've been doing a different line. Let's talk line, because the lines here are weird. If you're hugging the yellow line the whole way around, you're not doing it right.
Well, that also depends on how you have the car set up. If you can hold that speed down on the bottom, so it's kind of a double-edged sword.
The funny thing with Daytona, or at least I've been finding, maybe Ernie will do it. I'm kind of like behind. Well, he's holding it down there. I find if you go out a little wide before you go into the corner, it'll just drop you in. You can really reduce the amount of steering input, but we'll see what Ernie comes up with here.
Well, you're faster than Ernie.
Well, there we go.
See, you can't blame the interview now. You can actually say the interview helped you.
No, I can blame being sick today. There's always another excuse when you're a driver.
I was gonna say, if you're a race car driver, there's always an excuse. No matter how hard you don't want to make one, there's always one.
Yeah, absolutely. 397.
Yeah, on the line, I'm not sure. So our basic line was to hug the yellow all the way around, and I don't think it matters very much. what's much more important is how much steering input you give, particularly down the back straight, because any kind of steering input on the back straight and your speed just starts dropping, and you're buggered for the lap. And that was the difference between the 36s and the 38s. And I did a ton of qualifying runs, seriously a ton, and I was, I could vary between, I was almost always in the 47 threes, but I could vary from 361 to 395, just depending on how much steering input I was having to give on the back straight. So I think it's more about that than the line that you take.
I agree. The back straight, especially with these setups, it's trying to minimize that input because it wants you to put input into the car. But we all have our little tricks. I think we've all kind of figured out what those strategies are, especially with the risk of blowing up this week on qualifying runs. I don't think any of us are blowing up now, at least in the top teams. We've kind of all figured that out. But aside from that, it's really the differences are so small. Like we came off of Daytona, or the Daytona 2.4, where the top 10 were probably separated by half a second, and this is just we've got, even just in this session, we've got 47.3 to 47.5. 47.5 being probably somebody who messed up a lap. That's it's a razor's edge out there.
Yeah, it is. And the super speed, although this is probably the closest it's ever been, but the super speedways are always a little bit like this. They're so close and so dependent on the setups as well. And as Mike said earlier, that's why we did the provisionals, because we don't want the guys that are fighting for the championship to miss out on the top splits if we can. So yeah, but it's insane, really insane. And the rest of the races won't be like this, apart from Indy. Indy is also super tight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Indy.
And also super dependent on setup.
And that's, I think, where you guys are stronger than us. We've been very lucky in our setup this week. I think even though we did a lot of work, being the rookie team that we are, we're learning as we go. Like we have some oval guys, we have some road guys, and but nobody has, I think, on our team, maybe aside from Adam and Brian and Eric, who were running it last year, nobody's delved this deep into setup before on our team. So to come out and, we're taking up, I think, 7 of the top 12 now after this is all done for sportsmen. So we're doing well. I'm really happy with how.
Yeah, you guys have done amazingly well. If you think, there are some really good teams, and Matt will say the same. UDocs are a really, really good team and really good at setups, and they work really hard at it as well. And they haven't got anything like your qualifying pace. So, and if you look at this, Brian Bennett is a top driver, and he's just done a 47.43, and that's actually better than he expected. I was chatting to Brian a couple of days ago, and he said he was struggling to get mid fives.
Wow. So Dakota just did a 356.
Yeah. I just watched. We just watched that. That was a crazy lap. It didn't even look that fast, but that was insane.
Good work, Dakota.
Yeah, mad.
Yeah, we learned from last year. We've learned since we've been together, since I've actually had the team instead of being an independent. We started working on our Daytona setup well before the 2.4 started. We were almost a month and a half into our setup before the 2.4 started. So we were starting way back even before the end of last season on our Daytona 500 setups. So it takes a little bit to get used to. But no, you guys' qualifying set is freakishly fast, and we're amazed on how fast you guys are. So I applaud you, and good luck for this upcoming weekend.
Thank you very much. We're enjoying it, I'll tell you that. And the level of competition here is just incredible, man. Like, just even during the 2.4, where we did really well, Rob picked up a win for us in GT3, and Zach and I got second and third in GTE, because we didn't have any DPs this year, but such is life. We did really well, and it was just there wasn't any aha moments. It was just grinding away at it. We have a few guys on the team that are just really engaged. Brian being one of them. There's Adam is there as well. Rob. There's a few guys that we're on track every night. Zach is on track every night. Daniel is on track every night. Chris. I'll tell you a story about Chris. Chris is a engineer with Toyota, and he's trying to wrap his head around these setups now too. So, and we have like this wide swath of experience on the team. So, and everybody's just trying to do their part. That's what's helping us and keeping us going, and we're even competitive within the team. Like when we were doing practice runs for qualifying, it was okay, I posted this, and then the next person would be like, oh, okay, this is my time now. Like, it's just egging each other on. It's constant. I love it.
Well, you guys are so blistering fast on your qualifying setup that I know Steve spent 200 laps just in qualifying trim trying to see if we can gain some more speed, and Travis did another 200 laps. So your guys' fast laps have really got us wheels turning, trying to see if we can edge. We're trying anything and everything to try to get the edge on you guys. So yeah, you guys are doing a heck of a good job, especially for a rookie team. Your team reminds of my team a couple years ago, and John can attest to this. We literally came out of nowhere, and nobody was expecting us to do very well. I have to thank Travis and Brian and Kevin and everybody on the beginning. They helped put us on the map, and we've grown exponentially every year. So I think you're going to follow in those same footsteps if you continue the way you are.
I hope so. I think the majors has provided a really interesting opportunity for all of us here. A couple of the guys on the team, I don't think until this point have taken iRacing as seriously as they do now. I did a bit last year, but nothing like this. Like, I was to the point last week where I was like, I need to get my monitors closer, because I need to make sure that that's set up before Daytona. So I went out and bought a new monitor mount for the majors. Like, it's small things that we're all doing to make ourselves a little bit more competitive. And by the sounds of it, it's everybody's doing it. Like, we are having discussions about what Kinetic is doing, what UDocs is doing, and trying to. I kind of wish I didn't show my hand already. I wish I wouldn't have shown my hand the other night, but we had the hotfix coming. So we had to hedge, and we posted our time, and now people are posting quicker times, and that's fine.
I was gonna say that's what happens if with with the hotfix. Yeah, we didn't know what was gonna happen with the hotfix, so it's like, okay, do we attempt something now, or do we pray that the hotfix doesn't do anything and we're going to be all right in the end? So it was a roll of the dice. You had to do what you had to do. But now people are like, okay, well, he got that fast, so there's obviously more time to be had here somewhere. So we got to figure it out, and we still have time to do it.
We had the same problem, of course. We didn't want to show how quick we were right from the off, but yeah, the having the hotfix where it was, we had to go just in case the hotfix did something which made the cars a bit slower. But that's the benefit of having 2 qualifying attempts. What I said to all the Kinetic guys is do one now and save the other one for after the hotfix, just in case. But fortunately, it doesn't seem to have any impact at all. Just for interest, I've just looked at my VRS my VRS data. I have done 976 laps at Daytona this week.
Well, that's probably including all the practice races, doesn't it, John?
Some of them. So that's just in the last week. So some of the practice races were before that as well. And it doesn't include the at least 100 laps that I've done as a ghost in qualifying sessions as well. But that's just an insane amount of laps.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We're doing nuts. Yeah, I think we're all doing a ridiculous number of laps. And on Matt's point about getting ready super early, it's kind of funny. We were doing the Daytona 24, the iRacing Daytona 24. There was 4 of us. We got wrecked out really, really bad at hour 11, and we decided as a team, okay, instead of continuing on, let's stop here. But we didn't walk away from the computers. The first thing we did was we jumped on Daytona Oval to try to pin down a setup. So we didn't think it was going to be this competitive, but we're glad to be up there.
Yeah, just going back to one thing that Mark said about the teams. We've over the last 18 months or so, we've had big debates in the majors about are the top teams too good, and is there too many of them, and stuff like that. And yes, it's I'm a bit concerned about how dominant we've been this week in qualifying, but the real answer is get yourself on a team, because it's a lot more fun that way. You'll get faster. You'll have people with the same kind of interest sharing stuff with you, and you'll egg each other on. Honestly, I don't know how the independent guys do it, how they can motivate themselves to do the laps and to get into struggle city the way some of them do and still carry on. The being in a team makes a huge difference in all sorts of ways. Not just on pure speed, but on fun as well. And some of those practice races were, absolutely brutal on getting wrecked and stuff like that. But we still had a lot of fun, racing within the Kinetic team and with some of you guys. And it was, most of the time when we got wrecked, we were laughing about how bad the wrecks were rather than screaming about it. So. My message to anyone that looks at the teams and thinks, oh my God, those guys are just too good and they're cheating. They're cheating by doing what they do. We're not. We just work hard at it, and because there's a lot of us working hard at it, it makes it even more effective. But it's also a lot more fun. So just get on a team.
100%. And to your point about the teams being dominant, I came into the majors without a team. We didn't all show up as a team and go, okay, let's compete in the majors. I signed up for the majors, and then we put a team together using the free agent list and people that we saw in session that were doing good. That's how we put the team together. It wasn't this massive effort beforehand. It was just seeing who had already signed up to the majors for the most part.
for the last couple of years, we've used UDOX as the poster boys for being a team on the majors. But I think you guys might overtake them this year.
I don't know.
Oh,
They
we'll
got a
see.
long way to go. They have a lot to prove still.
That's true, but they really did. You guys were sort of, you had bits of teams and you sort of you put them all together. But Mark literally built something out of nothing in a couple of weeks.
That is true. I do give him that one.
And honestly, it's been a lot of work sometimes, but other times it's not. You just need to find the guys who gel, and I think we have that group. We have a great group of guys. There's 2 Canadians, and the rest, the 10 of them are American.
So just to break in, Wade is out on track now, so this one's worth watching.
Yep, we've been following him since this first flying.
Let's see what he puts down.
You can continue your thought, Mark. We didn't want to. I know John didn't want to cut you off there.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's fine. It's totally fine. I think we still have a lot to prove too, guys. There's a lot of different races coming up. Like the next race is going to be a short track. Guess who sucks at short tracks? This guy.
Don't worry, I do as well.
So I think we're gonna see a very, very different finishing order for the next race compared to this race or at least qualifying for this race in the Daytona 2.4.
Well, Mark, you might have got beat by Wade.
So that's an improvement by Wade, but not that much. I think he was on a 3.79 before. Yeah, Mark. But if you want to see suckiness, wait until the dirt race and watch me. I am just awful at it. The short tracks I'm not so bad at.
I think 90% of the people in the majors hate the dirt race, but us, we love the dirt race. It's so much fun.
Like last year, I was running the trucks, just the iRacing trucks, and I mean the NASCAR trucks, not the off-road. And then Eldora came up, and I was like, I am not running this. There's no way I'm running Eldora. I just can't do it. It doesn't compute.
See, I ran the trucks at Eldora last year, and I had a blast. It's so much fun. It's so different, but yet it's so demanding on how wheel and throttle control you have to get those things to actually have enough speed and actually be competitive especially in the official series. It's crazy, but it's so much fun. I love the trucks at Eldora. I watch them every year since they've started.
I love
them. I'm just so awful at driving them. I can with the sprint cars, I can go fairly fast on a fresh track by myself, but that's it. So once, like last year when we ran, I said to the guys, if I can qualify for the main from the heats, I'll be fine. If I don't, there's no ways I'm making it to the main. Absolutely no way. And that's exactly what happened. I think I got taken out in the heat, and I made no progress in the C main, and I don't think I even got to the B main. I think I was lost in the C main. I'm just off. Once the track gets rutted up, I just cannot drive the car at all.
Well, even when it's not rutted up, I can't drive it. So you have one over on me, John.
Yeah, no, I'm quite fast when I'm by myself with a nice fresh track, but after that, I'm gone.
Interested to see if anybody just pops lap in here at the end, but I think this is going to be it, guys, isn't it?
Yeah, there's less than 30 seconds left. Jonathan just put down a 47.402. That's good enough for 10th in this session.
God, it's so close, guys. Like, we were about to go into the race turning 47.6s, and we thought we were going to be fine. I'm glad we kept at it. I really am.
Well, you definitely
Yeah,
got wheels.
it's
You
just-
got. Sorry, John. Definitely got wheels going. So yeah, there's gonna be. Don't expect to be sitting up there too long. There's people hunting for you.
Yeah, I feel like our Forge logo should, instead of square, it should be circular soon. Just put big targets on us at
Right.
some point.
Yeah, but as I said earlier, once we get to the race, it's a complete reset, and we don't know what's going to happen. So it'll be fun.
Right. All right, so that's the end of Q. To wrap everything up, thank you, Mark, for coming to hang out. It's always good to hear from the new guys that are in town. John and Mike, thank you as always. And Wade will be back with as regular scheduled on Saturday. So I am done. Thank you again, John and Mike and Wade and everybody for allowing me to do this. I believe I'm back at Indy, so that'll be a fun one.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, Matt. And yeah, I think you got a few more scheduled this year, and probably Mark's going to do some as well once he's experienced a few of them. And we're going to get Mark back on Saturday's session to delve a little bit more into how he built Forge and what his background is and stuff like that.
Sounds good. Until then, guys.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, not a problem, Mark.
No, sorry. Thanks for having me. This has been great, and I'm looking forward to racing with the Kinetic and Udox and and Dog Bear and the rest of them this weekend, because it's going to be fun. It's going to be tight. I think this will be a race for those who have maybe not joined the majors and want to see what it's about. This is going to be the race to watch, whether you're watching pro, sportsman, Americas, Europe, international. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be good.
Yes, I agree 100%. And with that, we bid you good night. Keep the wheels on the pavement and catch you guys Saturday. Bye-bye.
All right, we off.